Okay, it says that we're live now.
Okay, that.
Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, so in the organizing lounge, it's Wine About It Wednesday. And if you're at Home Cooked Health, it's just Wednesday, but that's okay.
Wednesday. We've been missing out.
I am here today with Paige Newman of Home Cooked Health. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Melinda Wieland. I am the owner of Order to Everything. I'm a professional organizer, and I created Wine About It Wednesday to drink some wine and talk about organizing, my two favorite things. And I'm going to let Paige introduce herself.
Hi, as Melinda said, I am a health coach with Home Cooked Health. I do virtual health coaching, and I work with all sorts of people, whether you're trying to lose a little bit of weight, whether your doctor has told you need to get some healthcare conditions under control. I'm here to talk to you about food, exercise, and wellness.
Awesome. So Paige and I thought that it would be really cool to try to figure out a way to combine our services and our skills. And we came up with the Healthy Pantry series. So we're talking all about food. And of course, Paige is talking about how to be healthy with what you're doing in the kitchen. And then I'm chiming in on how to organize it. So it's a 3-week series. This is the first week. And each week we're going to do a blog post on Monday. So each one of us, so you get 2 blog posts put out. And then we're going to do the Facebook Lives on Wednesday at 8 the same time. And we also created a really cool freebie guide that combines all 3 weeks together. And we'll talk about that at the end so that you can find out about it and grab it. So let's see what's next on our list.
We were going to share some questions that some of our viewers and readers wanted us to talk about tonight. And I'm new to this, but I believe you can ask questions while we're talking. Melinda, do you want to explain how that works a little bit?
Oh, yes. So the way that we're streaming together, we see the comments. So please comment and ask questions. If you would, though, type your name in front of your comment so that we know who you are, because unfortunately, it may not show who you are. So if you want us to know, type in your name and then put your comment. And if you really want to be secret, then don't worry about it.
No. A couple people sent some comments ahead of our Facebook Live. So you want to get started with the first question, Melinda?
Sure. Yep. Okay. So the first one, I want to make sure that I am asking the right one. Hold on. Of course, my thing is scrolling the wrong way. Okay. So first question is for Paige. What are some of the things to keep in mind when thinking of what you should keep around as a staple? So keeping healthy staples in your kitchen, what are some things that we should think of?
I love this question, especially with our current situation. A lot of people are trying to reduce the amount of trips they take to the grocery store. So staples are what you need to throw together a meal. Whether it's a long day after work, whether you just haven't shopped in a while, what can you put together that's going to make a healthy, well-balanced meal? And I like to keep grains on hand. I always have quinoa. I have brown rice. And I like to have an assortment of oils and vinegars. You can do a lot with vinegar. Salad dressings. I like to make them because then we avoid all of those unknown and artificial ingredients that are in some of those commercial salad dressings. Vinegar is great for marinades. It's great for coleslaws. And then the final thing I like to keep in staples is canned goods. They will last forever. So whether you want tomato sauce, whether you want canned vegetables, canned beans are great to have on hand. Even protein, we always have tuna, and my crazy husband likes sardines. That's a staple in our house. Really high nutritional value, surprisingly, in a really tiny package. So try and think about your grains, your flavor enhancers, your vinegars and your oils, and your canned goods. And that should be able to keep you going without a trip to the store and keep you pretty balanced when you're trying to put those meals together.
Awesome.
How does that sound? Do you have any of those on hand, Melinda?
I have beans. I have canned beans, and I do keep vinegars and oils around. I don't have a lot of grains, though. That's something that we have a little bit of, but I always end up buying every time.
it feels like you either avoid them completely because you're trying to stay low carb, or you eat a ton of them and you just burn through them. So, a midpoint in there, I usually buy large bags of them, and maybe in another topic we can talk about how to store larger items, but we just keep going through them, and then they're always on hand. They don't go bad. They last a long time. So it's easy to kind of stock up and know that you can throw together just about any meal.
Yeah, cool.
I have a question for you, Melinda.
Okay.
This is something I've experienced too. The shelves in my pantry are very deep. How do you organize so things don't get pushed too far back?
Okay, so I like this because I've had one of those pantries before in our first house, and they are not fun because it's out of sight, out of mind. So as soon as you put something in and then you put another can in front of it, you might think that you're going to keep all your tomato sauces in a row and all your soups in a row, but then when you don't have any more room, you just end up stacking stuff in front of it, and it's not good. So the things that I like to use in those types of situations are, I try to, if possible, use something that you can pull out. So if you can't afford pull out shelving, using bins that you can separate items in and then pull the bin out. Okay. It makes it a lot easier because then you can take advantage of the space, but then still see what's in it. Pull out shelves and pull out drawers, depending on the height. You can't use something like that if it's above your head, but if it's eye level and down, definitely if you have the budget, installing something that can be pulled out is extremely helpful, because just like with pots and pans or anything underneath, you're taking advantage of the depth so you can pull it out. Another thing that works, it may not work for behind it, but Lazy Susans are really good because you can get more in one area and be able to see it. And using tiered risers can also help, even though you can't use the space behind it. It's utilizing the height to add more things. So you're going up, not necessarily back.
Yeah. So maybe people feel like they have to use the entire depth if they could take advantage of the height.
Right. Yeah. And using the back could also be kind of thinking out of the box. It could be used for all of your surplus. So if you decant things, for example, and you have extra.
Tell me what decant means.
So if you buy cereal, for example, and you buy the family size cereal, but you decant it, you take it out of the package and you put it in one of the airtight containers. If you're, so decanting is taking the ingredient and putting it into another sealed container. And that works really well for a lot of things. So if you're doing that, let's use the cereal example, and you buy the family size and it doesn't fit in your plastic container, you then have extra, or I call it surplus. And I always like to have an extra area to keep those things. So inevitably you're going to have extra things or doubles if you overbuy, or you buy something right before something is empty. So you can utilize the back of those shelves for just the extras.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I liked this question was that one of the biggest problems I think people have is that they can't find the food that they buy. And so they keep buying more food. So if you can't find it, you're not going to cook with it. If you're not going to cook with it, you're not going to be in control of your health. So if you can organize your stuff, you're going to have better success in the kitchen preparing those meals.
Yes. Okay. So there's some comments and I just want to make sure. Okay. So Mira said, Paige, what is the shelf life of most spices?
That's a good question. I use mine way longer than they're supposed to. I would say 3 to 6 months is best. But smell it. Don't throw it out if you're still getting that nice aroma when you open up the lid. Keep cooking with it. And spices I do not buy in large quantities either. You go to Costco and you'll see like the huge thing of cinnamon, and I never buy those. Salt I buy large, pepper I buy large. Everything else I get small containers, and try and keep in mind 3 to 6 months. And you'd be surprised how quickly you go through them if you're cooking regularly.
Awesome.
What else have we got?
Okay, keep those questions coming. Oh yes, Shelf Genie. I don't know who said it. It says Facebook user. So type in your name before and tell me who said Shelf Genie. But yes, that is the pull-out shelving is, they're a great company if you can afford the pull-out shelving, for sure.
I did have a question on the shelving. Is that a DIY thing, or does that need to be done by an installer if you wanted to pull out shelving?
Well, it depends. So Shelf Genie is a company that will come out and they do completely custom pull-out drawers for you, pull-out shelving. So when you see the wooden pull-out shelves that are customized for the width of your cabinets, that's more of a Shelf Genie product. You can also do things like Rev a Shelf. You can get those at Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon. We did that in our previous home, and those are metal, not wood. I think they might have some wood. I need to check into that, but they have all different types of things. You know, two level pullouts, pan lid pullouts, all kinds of different things. And you can install those yourself. My husband and I installed them ourselves. So it just depends on how handy you are and if you want to do it yourself or not with those. And then, you know, a company like Shelf Genie, they'll come out and they'll just do all of it. They'll measure and they'll help you figure it all out.
I see another comment by our unknown Facebook user, smoked oysters. And I'm thinking that was talking when we were talking about those pantry staples. And I love that kind of the proteins we've talked about have all been seafood, and it can be hard to get fresh seafood. It can be expensive to get fresh seafood. So don't forget that these canned options can be really good options. They have a ton of good things on the market and all sorts of different price points. I'm able to buy wild fish canned, and we do use a fair amount of canned seafood in a variety of different ways. So smoked oysters we have not tried yet, but good to know that people are doing that out there.
What about other proteins like canned chicken? Is that bad?
And nothing's bad. I don't I don't like canned chicken, but no, if you want to keep it on hand, yes, there's a lot you can do with it. And I'm probably more likely to buy a rotisserie chicken and use it for that purpose. But if you just really don't want to get to the grocery store very often, yes, go ahead and use the canned chicken. What else do they make? I'm trying to think what other proteins are in a can that isn't fish. Chicken maybe.
I can't think of anything else except for like the pork and bean, like the little hot dog things, and those are not good. Those are bad.
Food is bad except for this.
Yeah.
Did we have, I don't see any Facebook questions right now. Did we have another question from before, Melinda?
Yes. So Gretchen asked a question earlier, and it's for Paige, and it says, I always find myself buying produce for the week, and then it gets moldy. It goes molding before I get to it, or it's hiding in the back of the drawer. And then when I remember it, it's wilted or moldy. So are there any tips other than using what you need right away to help this?
And so Gretchen, this kind of falls into seasonal eating. I do plan my meals out in advance, but I do not plan my fruits out. My kids eat a lot of fruit. So the way I kind of like to think about it is I buy a good amount, almost an unlimited amount of things that will last. Apples, pears, oranges. I can always have a good quantity of those on hand. And then each week I ask my kids, what's kind of your seasonal favorite this week? Peaches are delicious right now. They're a good price. So we're buying peaches. That means I'm not buying peaches and strawberries and blueberries and raspberries and cherries because yes, they will all go bad. You simply can't eat that much fruit. So we kind of rotate through those seasonal fruits in the summertime. And it might feel a little limiting, but you can also get your family on board by, okay, we enjoyed peaches this week. Who wants something next? You know, it helps talk about seasonal items. It helps keep them engaged in the process. So I kind of like the limits. So try and think about it that way. Like what's going to be our special of the week and limit yourself a little bit. I look for seasonality and I look for price. Cherries are a big one. My daughter knows that when cherries drop below $3 a pound, we will buy them. So kind of keeping an eye on if it's a good price, that means it's seasonal and you're going to get the best flavor and the most nutrients. Remember, the farther that a food has to travel to you, the lower the nutrients, because the time that has passed, the food simply loses nutritional value over that period of time. So shop locally if you can, buy seasonally.
Wow, I've never thought about that before.
Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons we like frozen foods, whole nother topic. But because they're flash frozen, it locks in those nutrients right away. So you're going to get almost as much, in some cases, even more than if it were fresh picked. And so frozen is not a bad category.
So frozen fruits are
frozen
kind of better than
like if you're buying something that's come from South America and it's taken a long time to get here, that frozen, locally grown blueberry might be better for you.
Nice. And the price is a good price when it's in season.
That's correct. That's when it helps to know when it's in season. The price will be affordable because we've all, tried to buy something out of season. Melons especially, they'll shoot way up. Don't buy it because they will taste bad and you're wasting your money.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm learning a lot of things.
You can put that savings into your new pull-out shelves in your pantry.
Well, this is a little tiny portion. I know that there are some containers that you can use to help things stay crisper and last a little bit longer. I haven't had too much experience with them, but I know that there are some around that that can help. And then there's little things like, and this is a food tip, not an organizing tip, but avocados, for example, if you store them with a cut onion, it makes them last a really long time. So if you cut...
After you've cut the avocado open or just a whole avocado?
After you cut it open. So, you don't usually... Well, some people do, but I typically only eat a quarter of an avocado at a time. And so when I put it back in, it gets brown really, really quick because it's already been cut. But if you leave the seed and you put it in a closed container with a cut onion, it makes it last so much longer.
Does it pick up the onion flavor? Really?
Yeah, the container smells like onion, but the avocado doesn't.
Yeah, I've never heard that one. I'll have to try it. Well,
yeah,
and
that's the only food tip I have.
It's interesting. I wonder what's in the onion that's reacting with the avocado. Interesting.
I hope it's a good reaction, but it works.
If it's fine, I don't think it matters then, right?
Yeah. Okay, what's next? We have... Here, let's do what are big no-no items to keep in your pantry to keep it healthy.
Okay, so the biggest thing I avoid is a long list of ingredients. If it has too many ingredients and you don't recognize any of the words, do not buy it. It is not good for you. I try and teach my clients that are just starting out and getting comfortable in the kitchen that if it had a life, it's good for you. So fruits, vegetables, animals, if you eat them, beans, anything that's grown, which means the ingredient list is going to be an item of one. And we get a little bit longer into some of our packaged foods, and that's fine, but you should still be able to recognize the ingredients. So for example, I talked about vinegar before. Balsamic vinegar is something that I use a lot of. And if you look at the balsamic vinegars available at your grocery store, you're going to see some that are just vinegar, some that have caramel color, some that have other chemicals in them. So you want the simplest form of any ingredient that you purchase, if possible. So that's probably my biggest tip for your pantry items. Look at the label, make sure you recognize it, and then is there another option that has fewer ingredients? Tomato sauce, like a marinara sauce, is a good one. You can get a really long list of ingredients, or you can get tomatoes, basil, garlic, and onion. And so again, just read the labels and pick simply.
Nice. Jamie. Jamie was telling us that you can also get salmon, but then realize that it was seafood also.
Yeah, salmon is seafood. Going back to that canned seafood, one other tip, we actually buy our canned tuna in oil. I know some people are concerned about, is fat okay for me? And the canned tuna in oil has a lot more flavor and it is not bad for you. So I would encourage you to give that a try if you're looking for a new canned tuna. It just has a richer taste. I've actually found when I use it, if I'm making a tuna sandwich for my husband, I don't need to add mayonnaise. I don't need to add much because that oil already gives it so much flavor, where the water pack can taste, I don't know, it gets a little bland sometimes.
That's good to know.
I have a question for you, and it seems like Devin might be interested in this too. Melinda, where do you like to shop for your organizing supplies? The reason I ask is I've gone on Amazon and I've been overwhelmed with options. So do you have a local source? Do you have certain name brands that you like to buy that are reputable? You don't want to spend a lot of money on something that doesn't hold up. Where do you shop?
Well, I guess that's a loaded question because it can be a lot of different things. I right now do a lot of Amazon shopping, especially for myself, but in terms of, containers and supplies for organizing. It sounds cliche, but I buy a lot of stuff at the Container Store.
Okay.
And I know that they have an image of being the expensive, organizing place, but actually things are very similar in price.
Okay.
You can find things that are very similar. Sometimes you can find things that are less, not a lot, but they're very comparable in terms of pricing. And things that are too expensive, then I shop around. So when I'm shopping for my clients, I will, if I have enough time, I'll look around. I'll go to Target even. I'll go to Home Goods. I'll go to At Home. Especially if we're looking for the right thing, I'll shop around. Those places that I just listed here locally in Austin, those are great. I know that a lot of organizers that will do dollar store. I personally don't have. It's great. It's great. I don't necessarily have the time for dollar store when I'm working with clients, so I don't like to say that I go there. But you can get lots of good organizing stuff at dollar stores, and especially things that aren't necessarily even for organizing, but you can turn them into containers. Okay, Devin, you said, how to store a giant bag of rice. Okay, so that goes to when I was talking about decanting before. I don't know if you saw that, but so you're taking the big bag of rice and you're putting it in a container that is airtight to keep it good. And then if you have extra, then you wrap it up and you put it in your extra or your surplus bin. And I like having the surplus because it gives me a place to look before I go make my grocery list, because then you can just shop your own pantry and make sure that you have it. And if you keep it in one spot, it's just, look, do I have it? Do I have it? No, you're not searching around or thinking you have it in the back of the cabinet. So if you decant or you take things out of the package, that's a way of keeping it organized, is to have a surplus or extra bin or spot. I have a door organizer on my pantry, and I have 2 baskets that keep all of our extras. So when we have ketchup and mustard, for example, because the ones in the refrigerator are almost empty, all of those extra things go in those baskets, and I just have to look right there to see if we have it or not. And I'm not searching all over the place. So
that's great. I've never thought of doing a surplus bin before. It's a fun idea.
Yeah, and you can just keep it. You just have to make sure that you can see stuff. So you can use tiered risers.
Okay.
I use that in my last pantry. Everything that was extra. So if I had an extra salad dressing or an extra ketchup or extra seasonings, whatever, because I had double or backup or whatever, it was on there and I could see. And now it's on my door. Or if you have a bin for things that are in bags, like cereals and all that kind of stuff, you just have to make sure that you can see it. Because if you're piling it on top of each other or stacking it in front of each other, then you're not going to see it and it just won't work.
Never use it. My food tip would be only buy large quantities of things that you use all the time. So Devin, I'm assuming that you eat a lot of rice in your house. If y'all are a once a month type of a rice family, maybe don't buy the big bag, and then you will have more room in your pantry for other things. So really focus on those, stocking up on those staples that you use all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. That's kind of hard when you go to Costco sometimes.
You've got to go in with the list and stick with it.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm not seeing anything else roll on here. Okay. So while we are seeing if anybody's going to ask any questions, we want to tell you all about a freebie that we've created. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a 3-week series that we're doing. And so each week is a different topic. And next week, we're going to be talking about stations, which will be fun. And all 3 weeks are going to be included in this freebie. We call it the Healthy Pantry Series Guide. And it looks like this. I have it printed out. It's 10 pages. So it's a lot of, fun stuff. And it gives products, and Paige has put tons of recipes in here. There's smoothies and spices, spice mixes, and all meal kit ideas and all kinds of stuff. So this is really, really great. And do you have anything, Paige, to say about the freebie?
It's worth downloading. It really does have a lot of fun information. I love the idea of an organized pantry. Means you're going to want to get in there and you're going to want to cook. And like Melinda said, I've given you a lot of recipes to kind of get you going with these pantry staples. We're all stuck at home. We've all got time on our hands. So start cooking. And yeah, Melinda packed it with like the questions I had about where do you buy things. She had a lot of great products and places to find the stuff that's going to get you organized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will put this in the comments after the live is over. So it'll be there. And then I think we both posted it on each of our Facebook pages. And so it'll be super easy to find. And it's free. It's nothing that you have to pay for. 10 pages of goodness. And we hope that you go get that. Is there anything else that you have that you want to talk about?
That's all. I think we're good. I appreciate everybody listening tonight, asking your questions, and stay engaged with us over the next 2 weeks. Like Melinda said, we've got a lot of great info to share. It's fun to do it with a professional organizer, get a different take on things, and hopefully y'all will learn some good tips.
Yes, I'm glad that we decided to do this because it's really interesting how it does go together. It's so easy. It does. I like it. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for chatting with me. And thanks everybody for piping in. And if you have more comments, you can always on both Facebook pages comment and ask questions, and we'll see it later if you're watching replay. So
we'll see y'all next Wednesday, 8 o'clock again. And don't forget to check those blogs for more information.
Yes, we'll post those in the comments too, so you can make sure to see them.
All righty. Everybody have a good night.
All right. Have a good night. Bye for now.
Bye.